Good morning, Rotary Club of Centennial.
Good morning, Mr. President, short timer.
Give that man a prize. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Samantha Johnson, would you care to serve us with an invocation, please?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Oh, funny, Phil. Phil is funny this morning, as usual. So today I decided to read a poem. It's called Have You Earned Your Tomorrow by Edgar Guest. Is anybody happier because you passed his way? Does anyone remember that you spoke to him today? This day is almost over, and its toiling time is through. Is there anyone to utter now a kindly word of you? Did you give a cheerful greeting to the friend who came along, or a churlish sort of howdy, and then vanish in the throng? Were you selfish, pure, and simple as you rushed along the way, or is someone mighty grateful for a deed you did today? Can you say tonight, in parting with the day that's slipping fast, that you helped a single brother of the many that you passed? Is a single heart rejoicing over what you did or said? Does a man whose hopes were fading now with courage look ahead? Did you waste the day or lose it? Was it well or sorely spent? Did you leave a trail of kindness or a scar of discontent? As you close your eyes in slumber, do you think that God would say, have you earned one more tomorrow by the work you did today?
Very nice. Thank you. Mr. DeWitt, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Gordon Close, do you have a Rotary Minute for us today?
I do have a minute or two. You know me, I just don't do a minute. How do you describe the organization called Rotary? There are so many characteristics of a Rotary Club as well as the activities of a million Rotarians. There are the features of service, internationality, fellowship, classifications of each vocation, development of goodwill and world understanding, the emphasis of high ethical standards, concern for other people as many more descriptive qualities. In 1976, the Rotary International Board of Directors was interested in creating a concise definition of the fundamental aspects of Rotary. They turned to the three men who were then serving on Rotary's Public Relations Committee and requested that a one-sentence definition of Rotary be prepared. After numerous drafts, the committee presented this definition, which has been used ever since by various Rotary publications. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people united worldwide who provide humanitarian service, encourage high ethical standards in all vocations, and help build goodwill and peace in the world. These 31 words are worth remembering when someone asks, what is a Rotary Club?
Thank you very much, Gordon. And Mr. DeWitt, do you have a business minute for us?
I do. Can everyone hear me? There we go. So I'm Scott. I don't know if I've had the chance to meet all of you. I am new. I still have my red badge. So anyway, so for the business minute today, I am an audiologist, so I'm telling you a little bit about that. Right, that's the lead into my next joke. So being an audiologist, I have chosen to hear that joke all day, every day, for the rest of my life. The best part is half the time they're joking and half the time they're not, and I always assume the opposite, which is really awkward. So if they say what, and I just laugh and don't retell them, what I do or anything like that. So it gets fun, yeah. So I'm used to it, yeah. Anyway, that being said, so as an audiologist, I deal with all things ear-related, primarily diagnosing and treating hearing loss, and that's what everyone typically thinks of. But we do more than that. We deal with patients who are dizzy and have balance issues. I've had a surprisingly high number of musicians I've seen lately for on-stage in-ear monitors that we fit them to, which has been a lot of fun. But what I want to tell you today...
What about parents of 3-year-olds?
That's earplugs, and yes, we do work with earplugs too. Believe it or not, some people are sensitive to loud sound, so we get filtered earplugs, so it's a thing. That being said, something kind of fun I just wanted to share with you. So there are 6 major manufacturers of hearing aids in the world, and they all think they're the best, and they all want to compete with each other so that you'll buy their hearing aids. So one of them, Starkey, who you may have heard of, they're based in the United States. They hired the CTO, Chief Technology Officer from Intel Computing, a year or 2 ago to come in and just shake things up. And he did. So their newest hearing aid is more than just a hearing aid. But, I was a little skeptical, but it is really, really cool. They're calling it a healthable. So they've found that the ear level is incredibly specific, way more specific than your wrist for fitness and movement monitoring. So what they've done is your hearing aid is actually tracking your overall fitness level, how active you are, can take your heart rate, future developments might be able to monitor blood sugar, stuff like that they're working on, which is really, really cool. So you have an app on your phone and it tells you your overall health score. It also tells you your brain score because we're stimulating your ear and your brain through hearing more, which is really cool. So what they've done, I have a quick list of the new features. So obviously Bluetooth streaming, everyone likes that, to be able to listen to stuff in your ears when no one else knows that you're listening. The heart rate monitor I talked about. A voice assistant. They're working with Amazon, so you can tap and have Alexa talk to you. They're working with Google for a translate feature, so you go to Madagascar. And now I will be honest, I demoed it at a training. It's in the early stages. It goes from the hearing aid to your phone back to the hearing aid. So Google will pick up what someone says to you, translates it, and then reads it back in English. So right now there's 27 languages, which is pretty cool, and they're working on more. They have voice-to-text translation or transcription. For my sake, remote programming, so if you are somewhere far and you need something changed, as long as you have an internet connection, I can make changes from my office here in Colorado. And then the biggest thing for me, and this will be my ending piece, fall detection is huge. So a lot of our patients are at risk for falling. So again, at the ear level versus something hanging around your neck, it's like 92% more specific on if you had a fall. And then what'll happen is there's an alert and you have 30 seconds to stop it if it was an error. And if not, it will ping your top 3 contacts. So it could tell your son or your doctor or someone, and it will send them a notification saying so-and-so fell, this is the GPS tagged location. So pretty cool stuff. So yeah.
Question, if it's doing fall protection,
yes.
can it pick up if an individual's having a seizure?
That is an excellent question. This release, no, but they are working on it. So that was a question that one of my colleagues asked as well. So again, this is the first launch, and as you know, with all technology, sometimes you want to wait for number 2. But anyway, they're working on all those things. Yeah.
How are they going to guarantee your privacy?
So that's also a very good question. What they do is because it's syncing with your phone, you choose what is shared. So really, you have to agree to a lot of different things and accept before it will work. But essentially, they try to randomize the information that's being sent. I'm still a little unsure of all the specifics of that, but that was a question that was brought up as well, because someone brought up, they have smart stoves now, and someone could hack the stove and tell it to preheat, and start a fire or something like that. So what are the negative things someone could do through a hearing aid? We don't know yet, but they're working on that too. So yeah, anyway, fun stuff.
Well, thank you very much. I want to thank Alan Jackson and John Wexler for the setup and takedown today. Also want you guys to keep Paul Hariuchi in your prayers. He wasn't feeling well again and had to go home again this morning. He seems to think he might have valley fever, so he had some blood tests done. But yeah, he's just not feeling well. He's under the weather, so if you get a chance, give him a call. Just don't wake him up during his nap. Thanks, Mr. Gross, for being a great greeter out there. Appreciate that. Samantha, thanks for that wonderful poem. And Scott, that was the best pledge I heard all week.
I tried.
Well, I can't say that. I heard a good pledge yesterday, too. So, we do have a couple of visiting Rotarians. We have Matt Seitz over here and Gage. I don't know if Gage is a Rotarian or not, but that's okay. Matt's going to be speaking to us in just a little while about a water project from the Westminster Club. And we have Raphael in our midst here. Raphael, is this your last breakfast with us? One more? All right. Well, thanks for coming. We really do appreciate the number of times that you've shown up here. And Randy, I know, hides every time he sees you, but that's okay.
He doesn't get to eat.
Okay. Mr. Hanna, would you like to talk about T-shirts? Or shirts, not T-shirts.
I come before you once again with
Microphone. Microphone.
I come before you once again with a once-in-a-lifetime, or at least once this month, opportunity to get a Rotary shirt.
Thanks.
I'll pass this around. The shirt will look pretty much like this. Short sleeve, button-down collar, button down all the way down, except it'll be black, and it'll have a larger Rotary emblem, excuse me, and it'll say Centennial, Colorado. So if you didn't sign up last week, or if you were not here last week, I'm going to pass this around again. The way it's going to work is I'm actually going to do this one more time, and then we'll put the order in. John Peterson has volunteered to pay for the entire order, and then he'll be reimbursed, and then each of you will be billed by Barbara for your shirt. So there's your opportunity. Go for it.
I'm going to be a little picky. There was a discussion last week at our table anyhow, or kind of a table because we were sitting out there, about the color black. And was that like a deal that we got? Because we always saw this picture of blue, and the blue looks super nice. Yeah. Was there like a, I don't want to put you on the spot, or if there was like...
Well, as you can see, the overwhelming number of people were going for black. Right. And so we just decided to keep it simple and make it black so that we don't have to have multiple orders of like one white, one blue, one black, and so on. So that was just the agreement that we made.
Because most folks say that black was also blue and not black.
Okay. John?
You know, Bellum, you're just a little too much of a new member to be giving us this kind of a problem. Thank you very much. Whatever you guys want, we can deliver. So why don't we take a little poll here and see who would rather have? We can do white, navy blue, or black. All right. So if you would like black, raise your hand. Well, that was a pretty big deal. Navy blue. Wow, that looks pretty darn good. And white. All right, navy blue. It's that simple. Thank you, Mr. Bellum.
Okay, the B will be blue instead of black. I'm going to pass this around, Trip. Thank you.
Democracy in action. All right. Okay. Karen Fleck, would you like to talk to the group about a food drive?
Yes. So I wanted to...
Excuse me.
I wanted to point out that we have a food drive coming up on the 22nd of June, and we have it in the calendar. And so you can go out onto the calendar now and sign up for one of the shifts. I need 3 volunteers for each of 3 shifts. So pretty easy to sign up. I think John showed us how to do that, but it's pretty simple. So
yes,
go out
John.
and sign up. Thanks.
Okay, yeah, it is up there on the web. There's 3 actual things that we need to sign up for. I'm not seeing the kind of participation that this club is used to, so let's get on it and do it. We've got the Ronald McDonald House early in June. Then we have beer sales in the middle of June, and then we have the IFCS food drive at the end of June, I think on the 22nd, as I remember. So that all being said, We need to get you guys into the calendar. Just click on the event that you want to go to, and you can sign up right there. So please participate.
Okay, and Ronald McDonald's on June 7th. And the summer kickoff is on June 14th. Okay? So we do still need slots filled. So go onto the website and volunteer. With that, I'd like to just make sure we extend to Mr. Holzman a round of applause and a good luck for your travels coming up. He's going to be heading off. John will be heading off to Madagascar, and we expect a full report at the changing of the guard, just so you know. Yeah. I'm sure that you'll be giving us a full report before long. All right, any travel gifts? Yes. Deborah?
I just got back from 2 weeks in Portugal. And first of all, we flew into Boston. So has anybody here been to Boston?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a fair amount of you. What do you think of when you think of Boston?
Baked beans.
Okay. Well, tea party. That's good. I thought of Red Sox. So
Nobody thinks of Red Sox for people from Boston.
And they have sailboats on it, so I figured I hit the tea party along with it. All right. Now, just so that you're official, you also get a Red Sox hat. So it comes with it. Then, from there, let's see, we went to Porto, which is south of Lisbon. And we skipped Lisbon because it's just another big city. But if you go there, you have to take a tour of the Taylor floodgate and sample port. Mm-hmm. Now, so here is a Taylor floodgate fine tawny Porto. And I got to tell you, this stuff is good. Does anybody know one of the three places, and which Portugal being one, what is grown there? Correct. Cork is. And the trees are there. Every 9 years, they shed the trees, and they scrape them for the cork. Well, I have a cork in this bottle. So we hit 2 there. Then from there, we flew to the island of Madeira. And it's only one runway. Kind of scary when you think about it. It's like, flying into Aspen. Well, you have to then go to what's there, which is Blandy's. So now we have rainwater and Madeira wine from Madeira. This is also very tasty. Then I knew this was a really tough crowd because we flew back into Boston. So I thought, okay, now I've got to have another gift from Boston. So, in case you didn't get it the first try, here is some New England clam chowder. And some oyster crackers to go along with it. Now, if you want, and you buy this at the time that it's being raffled off, I also got you a card that you can have original clam chowder from Boston, and I am willing to provide that.
Wow.
And now I'm home.
All right. And sober, I hope. Catherine, I believe you had your hand up.
So Eric and I were in New York City last week. It was nice. I got to tag along for a business trip, which was really, really nice. We wandered around the city. We got dinner at Tavern on the Green, date night. And in their little gift shop, they had a book of vintage postcards, which I thought was kind of cool to look at from the early 1900s. And to go with it, you have a tin of postcards you can send yourself in case email you want to go a little old school and go snail mail with some postcards.
Thank you, Catherine. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My husband and I this weekend were able to go take a little jaunt around southern Colorado, which we hadn't really been to all that much. And so we went from here to Gunnison, to Telluride, to Cortez, and down through Durango, and did a few of the things through there. We did miss the boulder that closed the highway, just barely, actually. It had fallen maybe about 20, 30 minutes before, so they allowed us around it on a private drive, which was, yeah, we were amazed because that would have been a long trip around. So, anyway, Mesa Verde. I have a patch here, a collectible patch, and a small thing of some cards with some shots from Mesa Verde. That was a lot of fun. And then I have, skipping over, we did take the train, so I do have an ornament from the train. It was a lot of fun. It had, you know, as everybody knows, it had just snowed. We actually hit snow going up till we hit Gunnison. And so it was really, they had broken out of the snow. It had snowed significantly up there, so it was kind of fun to see all of the different, you know, all in one train trip, different seasons. And then, last but not least, this one I think is the most fun. If I can get it out of here, out of the bag. Your very own Cortezopoly. Just in case you would like to celebrate the city of Cortez, here's your game to do so. Thanks.
Now that's unique. That's unique. Mr. DeWitt.
So for the third thing to talk today, Tim told me I had to do 3 things today or I'm kicked out. So anyway, so I went to Tennessee over the weekend to see my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. I was thinking about, there's the George Dickel Whiskey Distillery and Jack Daniels, but I didn't know if liquor was a bad thing, but I see next time I can. So anyway, 2 years ago we were there for a wedding. And that wedding was at the Loveless Cafe. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of it or seen it on TV. It was awesome. So, of course, we went back to eat. So I brought some of their biscuit mix, which their biscuits are amazing, and then 2 of the preserves. There's some strawberry and peach. So.
All right. All right.
I didn't bring the fried chicken, but I ate some. It was very good.
Any other travel gifts? Okay, well, with that, I believe that Mr. Bellum has Happy Bucks today.
All right. I'm going to start off. Who's this at? $5. $5 for that phone call. I'm going to start us off today, Little Rich. 3. 1 for our guests who did show up to do a presentation on water. A sad buck for our guest that I'd scheduled to speak about marijuana who didn't show up. Does that maybe tell you something about the business? And then the last buck is a thank you buck. And then yesterday being Memorial Day, the day that most folks go out and buy a mattress, the fact is it's the day when we obviously celebrate those men and women who didn't make it back, who are fighting for our freedom. And I have a real thing for Gary Gordon and Randy Shugart, who were the 2 Delta Force operators who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the Battle of Mogadishu. And you know, if you ever read the book, The Battle of Mogadishu, I mean, what they did is about as selfless as 2 servicemen could get, and they posthumously were awarded the Medal of Honor, the first time it had been awarded since Vietnam. So saying that, that's kind of lets you know, let's see some dollars and be thankful for all that we've got and happy. We shook him down for $20 already for dinner, so he might not have anything. Brad?
I got 2 Happy Bucks. First, I won't be here for next Tuesday because I'll be on a Disney cruise. And number 2 is I had an extra $1 in my wallet, so why not?
Sure, you should. He's like, look, all right, I did pay for breakfast this morning.
I have a happy 5 for sleeping in my own bed. Always wonderful.
Excellent, Tom.
I have a couple. One for our guests. Thank you for coming and contributing to breakfast. And a two for Memorial Day and all the sacrifices for us.
Over here, Eric. And I didn't have an apology buck today, but last week Eric sat down. I think it was last week it was the week before on Ting. Yeah, he's remembering it was 2 weeks ago. And he's like, save these 2 seats. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I got this covered. And then our guests came. And they're like, can we sit here? And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so Eric comes back and he says like, I had one job for you this morning, John, and you utterly and completely failed at it. So my apologies to Eric. And Kathy, because there was...
Yep, we got to sit in the back of the bus. I have one today. In remembrance of those who fell. We run the Boulder. Well, we try to do it every year, and once again, made it through in one piece and lived to tell about it and not so sore the next morning.
Thank you. Anyone else this table? Ken?
But Dollar, we had a very lovely but exhausting Sunday with our 2 grandchildren, 2 and 4.
Very good. Samantha?
It's Tuesday and I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm really happy. We're heading off for a West Coast trip next Sunday. And 2 weeks and a lot of fun for sure.
Very good.
Hey, good morning. Yesterday, the Primetimers played pickleball. We're playing again next Monday, so if anybody wants to take off work to come and play pickleball with us, you'd be welcome.
Sorry.
I have 2 happy dollars, one for our vets and one for I'm headed to Key West and I'll finally get to warm up.
Nice. Anyone else over here? This table's got where did Cheryl go? She's supposed to slip us a 5 for that phone call.
Yes, my wife and I had an anniversary last week, and it was number 52, and I forgot it.
We got many more years to remember.
You think it'll stick, Tom?
I have one. My wife and I are going to be gone for 2 weeks. We get to watch grandchildren in Fargo. And I just would encourage everybody to keep John Holtzman in your prayers and thoughts as he travels to Madagascar. It's not an easy trip. It's a trip of a lifetime. He's going to come back with amazing stories, and I just wish you safe travels.
John?
This is Dollar. My wife had surgery last week on her back for cancer, and the next day she was working in the yard.
There you go.
I just want to let everybody know that if they have a chance to go to Portugal, please do. The people are unbelievably friendly. They really like Americans. And one thing that I observed while I was there is you go to dinner and nobody's on their cell phones. They talk to each other. It was quite fascinating. So, and I tried, John, to go to a Rotary meeting. And I actually walked into a hotel where they said Rotary met. Rotary had not set up any other meetings yet. So I tried. And then, and it's a happy 10 because I just wanted to say I went out to Fort Logan yesterday, which was very impressive. My dad was at World War II when it was bombed. And so I went out in remembrance of him.
She stole my thunder. I was going to say I have a happy buck because we went out and visited her dad, who was a survivor at Pearl Harbor. That's a big deal.
John. There we go. Well, everything that you brought back, we don't need to go to Portugal now because we just have to bid on that, and it's like being there.
Well, I was out at Fort Logan also yesterday. I didn't see you there, but so I'm not happy about that. But it would be nice. But I went out to visit my in-laws, and he was stationed at Pearl Harbor during the war. So we were out visiting them.
All right. This table, anybody?
I have 3. I spent 3 days doing yard work. Hopefully this is the last weekend I have to do it this year. Of course, all my flowers are in, and tomorrow it's getting down to 36 degrees. So hopefully they survive.
Greg.
Oh,
I just have to give a happy duck because of Deb's travels and Boston. I went to Boston University, and if you've ever been to Boston, you know their accents. They put an R everywhere they want to and not where they want to and so forth. And it reminded me that while I was at school there, I found out that Boston actually is known as Bean Town. Very proud of their baked beans. They would make baked beans, the Puritans, and then have them the next day with molasses and everything. But I found out that the city council in the 1950s determined that if they canned the beans within the city of Boston, they could only put 239 beans in a can. Isn't that weird? You know why? If they put in one more bean, they'd be too farty.
That's you almost need another $1 for that after that one. Scott, make it 4 times today?
I call shenanigans on that one.
All right.
Give him a red badge.
I'm just happy to be back. This was our 3rd trip that we flew with our 5-month-old, and he was an angel the first 2 and the way to Tennessee, and he screamed 92% of the flight. So we got looks, but so happy to be home.
Well, I'm happy that the Rockies have finally figured out how to win a couple of games, even though it takes them 9 innings.
There we go. Mr. President?
Yeah, you still have one over there.
Oh, John, sorry. This table is unexpected today.
So I guess I'll have 2. One, just frivolous. Last Friday, my wife said, "Hey, why don't we go down to the outlet mall once every 5 years? Probably makes it." And so I said, I've been looking for some more bright shoes, and I was able to find 5 different bright colored shoes. So my old ratty ones I don't have to wear anymore, but I'll use them when I'm doing my yard work.
Well, in Madagascar, you'll probably end up in jail if you wear them.
Actually, I was hoping to wear 1 pair of my old ratty green ones, but I don't know. And the other one is just I really am grateful for your support. 2 weeks ago, I was planning to say to John, I don't think I can do this because I didn't think I had any support. And I'm not talking about finance, though several people have been very generous to me, but it was more just, I'm just doing this on my own. And 2 weeks ago, Tripp mentioned me, and then just there was an outpouring, and I'm just really grateful, and I'm looking forward to representing you all and making some hopefully significant difference in at least several people's lives there while we're there.
All right. Mr. President?
I have 3. One is in remembrance of Memorial Day and what it stands for. The other is for John, and we're proud to have you as our representative out there. The other one's for Raphael, dedicated young man. Go out and have some fun. Get back in one piece, okay? We don't want to be writing any letters to your parents about your behavior. Okay, we do not have a speaker today, but we do have a pinch hitter in Mike Seitz. He's going to talk to us about a water project from Westminster, correct? Come on up, Mike. You've got the floor. Oh, Matt Seitz. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Really appreciate the warm welcome. This is a great club and well worth the trek up from Westminster. So I'm in the Westminster 710 club. There's 2 clubs in Westminster where we have 35 members, very active club, especially for our size. So I just really appreciate the warm welcome. Got started in Rotary about 5 years ago and didn't know much about it before that. My younger brother actually went to Ukraine on a scholarship, a Rotary scholarship, so I always had a good association with that and saw how much he grew and learned. So yeah, today we are pinch hitting a little bit, but we'll try and go through it, keep it to 10 minutes and allow enough time for questions. I'd like to introduce Gage Pallone as well.
Yeah, so my name is Gage Pallone. I'm a student at the Carl School of Mines, and we're partnering with the Rotary Club to get a project through the Engineers Without Borders Club at School of Mines in Nicaragua. So thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited to present. All right, awesome. So just a little bit about our club. is it's just a student chapter. It's all extracurricular volunteer work for the students. We have a couple projects. We have one in Uganda where they're actually traveling next week, so I guess wish them luck. But we're in the Nicaragua Los Gomez project where we're working on a water supply system. Our group's about 15 students where we have several mentors where Matt is we're lucky to have Matt as a Rotary contact as well as a technical mentor.
Thanks. Yeah, so my involvement got started probably a little over a year ago with one of my professors from the Colorado School of Mines. I'm a hydrogeologist and consultant, so we work a lot with water districts and cities just across the Front Range mostly, and some work in the San Luis Valley. We have a fair bit of work in that part of the world as well. And in talking with this mines professor at a wedding reception, actually, I'm like, I was listening to what she was up to, and she's one sort of a kind of a famous groundwater modeler, basically very highly regarded, retired professor now from the School of Mines. And listening to the work that EWB, School of Mines, had done, they've already installed a well in this town you'll hear a little bit more about called Los Gomez, 200-person town in Nicaragua. So they've successfully installed a well and a pump, and prior to that, actually a bridge that Gage will talk a little bit about. But they have a long-standing commitment and buy-in from the community in that area. And listening to that, I was like, well, what's coming up next? And what's coming up next is kind of the final, like, we're rounding third on this project, and what the town voted for and is taxing themselves and metering the water to provide is a pipeline from the well will pump to a storage tank, and the storage tank will deliver water to the individual residences, a school and a church in the town. So I said we should get involved and started talking to people in Westminster 710 and presenting at WASH conference, WASH meetings and so forth.
Yeah, so I think we've gathered so far, our team's goal is to create a sustainable water supply system in the town of Los Gomez. So a little more info on Los Gomez, Nicaragua. So it's about a 2.5 hour drive from Managua, as you can see on the map there. So basically it's a small rural town of about 200 people, and they have a school in the town as well from the surrounding communities, and now up the population to 300 once they're all attending school. So it's a pretty small, as I said, rural town of farmers and ranchers, and so they haven't been affected by the civil unrest either, if you guys have been up to date on that. So they are very happy to work with us, and we're really happy to work with them.
Oh, and I don't know if I have a slide on it or not, but I wanted to mention too, along with Rotary and then the Mines EWB chapter, we're also teaming with an organization called El Porvenir. Some people might be familiar with. They're based out of Broomfield, but most of their staff is actually in Nicaragua, and they've done over 500 WASH projects in that country. So it's a nonprofit that's devoted solely to Nicaraguan projects. And it's kind of key having those boots on the ground to get this thing moving forward. And in fact, they've been doing reconnaissance and sort of checking the pipeline route via mines funds. And the mines students have raised a good chunk of the money already, including the well that's gone in and a good deal of the work that's already happening and has happened in the last several weeks with checking out the pipeline route.
So basically, I mean, we've been in the community for a really long time now. Previous project in Ochamongo, which is right next to the community, with the bridge project, and then we started our water project all the way back in 2014. So our presence in the community has been, I guess, long-standing. And so back in October of 2017, we implemented our first phase, which was the groundwater well. We hit water first time, so that was a big success. And it's actually the flow is a lot higher than what the water demand is for the community, so we're really grateful that everything worked out. The water quality is good. There'll be little treatment needed, so we're looking to be in good shape for this next phase.
And that's about 250-foot deep well and fractured basalt. If you ever get on Google Earth, there's just beautiful volcanoes all across the area there. It looks amazing. Okay, so kind of where I checked into the project or got involved was in what we're calling phase 2. So the well's in, the pump's in, that's all successful, but it's just kind of sitting there right now. And one of the big hurdles was, as Gage alluded to, there's been some political turmoil and unfortunately some violence even in the country going back maybe a year to a year and a half ago. And that's when that happened, the mines students, the university has basically just said, well, we're going to put a travel hold in place. So they were all geared up to go down there and complete the project, but there's a travel hold in place. So we reached out at the recommendation of a club member with a lot of WASH experience. And this is my first time through the whole grant process, and it's an international district grant is what we're putting together as well. But I've learned quite a bit over the last year, I hope, and made some really great connections with other clubs. But where we got tagged into the project was in what we're calling phase 2. So this is the pipeline part of it. That's going to be roughly 7 kilometers of pipeline. The town is going to do a lot, basically the sweat equity, and then also install water meters, individual water meters, to keep the projects with the goal of keeping this sustainable, because everything breaks down over time. So there'll be individual meters and a town water committee of sorts that will assess people who tie into the system. So here's the logo of our partner El Porvenir, and really encourage you, if you're at a WASH conference, to go up to their booth. They're there all the time. They're really terrific people and have just a ton of experience. The game plan as far as Rotarian travel down there is, I've been in contact with people from El Porvenir, and we're confident that myself and possibly other Rotarians, if there's interest, will be able to go down under the guidance of staff from El Porvenir. And once you basically get into the project area, it's very safe, and we'll be able to have that key part of the project of face-to-face communication and boots on the ground.
Yeah, we can. So basically, this presentation was made for kind of like a more overall view, but we'll skip through these committees. Basically, what it is just how our club kind of works, where we're kind of divided into like a social committee, a technical committee, as well as a fundraising outreach committee. Just kind of hit all of our marks so that project is successful, and then we can reach out for money, such as what we're doing right now. We're doing the outreach section, but then we also have a technical team where we work with mentors. And so all our designs are checked over by professional engineers and faculty, as well as the EWB headquarters. So, and then we also have a social committee to be dedicated just for the sustainability, humanitarian aspect as well. Okay. So, so a little bit about this, like the sustainability of it. So right now we're looking just to implement this distribution project where we're going to have, a tap to each house that's going to be metered and charged by the local committee there. And that money will be used for maintenance and to pay for electricity to power the pump. So right now, how this is sustainability is I just want to emphasize that the community is very much bought in. EWB projects require a 5% contribution from the community. And additionally, we do have that local committee. It's actually called the CABS committee. I don't know if anybody has done work down in that area, but a lot of their water teams are called CABS committees. So it's a group of local members that will that know the community, that are part of the community, and will be in charge of maintaining the system as well as collecting fees for the system. Part of that will be working with the Rotary and our technical mentors to provide them with the operations maintenance manual in Spanish, as well as just some other contacts as well.
So here's the budget. This is a little bit out of date. Westminster 710 Club is contributing $8,000 in our full DDF match. This is a 2019-2020 grant, so we're hopeful that we can get everything in place and have our grant application submitted in the start of the Rotary year coming up in July. The overall project budget is $32,000, of which through fundraisers over the last year, the School of Mines, I think they're probably up to more like $11,000 now. So there's roughly 1/3 of that has been covered by all the cool fundraisers. They make like a cheese sandwich extravaganza sale and other fundraisers on campus, including a gala that I unfortunately couldn't go to, but it sounded really neat. They're just reaching out and building community with other Rotary clubs and students and people all across the country, actually, across the world. You can see here one of the big line items is these water meters are over $4,000, and that's a lot of money. But if the system can't pay for itself, then over time it's useless. It's going to be several year project instead of something that is self-sustaining, which is our true goal. Biggest line item by far is the 7,000 meters of, I think it's HDPE pipeline, a lot of miscellaneous valves and that sort of thing. And then basically the way we set it up with El Porvenir is they have engineers in country and WASH staff that will be involved, and we've got a memorandum of understanding worked out with them. And when I look at billing rates for consultants in Denver versus what these Nicaraguan engineers, who are I'm sure great engineers and have already been out on site, it's more like in the $60 to $80 per day rate for engineers in Nicaragua to be involved in this project. So it's very cost effective to have someone in country who can, is 2 hours away and has already established some contacts with the community. And Gage knows a little bit more on that too, but there's actually an EWB Nicaragua group down there too. So we have two sort of separate groups of engineers that are collaborating together and helping to get various parts of the project moving forward. Okay, so yeah, as far as networking, we would love it if your club would be interested in participating. I've got my email in here. As far as the timing of funds, I think we would be looking towards spring of 2020, where we'd actually be writing some of the larger expenses for implementation out here. Hoping to get the grant application in July. We've got a nice contribution from a Fort Collins Rotarian via his personal charity, and then have been in discussions with the Evergreen Club as well, and your club as well, and we're pleased to be participating as the Westminster 710 Club in the Water Rico project that Mark and John came and talked to our group. And right now we don't actually have a dedicated wing of international service committees, but we're getting more involved with that. Me and Canote and a man named Martin Postma, who are in our club that have more experience than me, and they've kind of been helping me through the Rotary, how to put the grant together, which has been very helpful. So we're looking to network on that, and would be happy to answer any questions or shoot me an email or catch me after the meeting.
I have a question. Of the, you say 60 meters, so 60 homes, how many people does that represent?
It's
about
260
around that area.
Okay.
And then we're also accounting for our population growth as well. So I think that the budget should reflect that as well.
Okay. And then during the day, there's a school with 100 kids, you said?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So we also
that would be served by it.
Are anticipating the water demand from the school, which will bring about 100 local kids into school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Embarrassing. Whoops. WASH. What does it stand for? You used it multiple times.
Oh, sorry. Water, sanitation, and hygiene. And they have, you're being interested in water or doing water projects, they have monthly meetings down at, it's the Denver Wastewater Building. It's kind of a sort of a Gothic looking building down by the stadium. You can see it right off the highway. And I think it's the first Monday of every month, but it's really good for networking with clubs and people that are doing water projects. So I'd recommend checking it out.
So when you're saying they are having meetings, who's having meetings and what? Oh, so,
I go. I'll take you with me next time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's great networking and really interesting to hear. It's usually case studies of Rotary water projects and that sort of thing.
Good hustle, Scott. Gage, what are you studying there? And then when will you be graduating?
Environmental engineering. I'm going into my senior year this year, so one more year of undergrad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. How many are in the chapter of the EWB?
So the chapter, it'll vary. It's about 30 to 40 students because we have another project in Uganda. They're actually traveling next week. And then our club, or the Nicaragua part, is about 15 students.
Okay. Are you getting school credit?
No, this is all extracurricular volunteer. We meet once a week, try to get things done as best we can. I think we were all geared up to travel last year at this time, but because of that political unrest, our EWB as well as the school placed a hold on travel, which has made things a lot more difficult because usually we'll travel to the community, and a lot of the work's try to be is done by us, and we're able, because mine students are directly benefiting from it, the school is able to give us a lot of money. But since we can't travel, that means we need a lot more money to hire people to do the work for us. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah, thank you.
Gage?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matt. Take care. Okay. Seems how we've had an abbreviated program today. I just want to make sure that we remember June 7th is Ronald McDonald House. Please sign up for that. The Millennial Group has taken the lead on that, but they do need some support from our club. Randy, you have something?
Yeah, just real quickly, you'll notice next week I'm doing the presentation on creation of a city. And I'm going to take basically the 2.5 years that we as a group started to think about creating a city and cram it into 30 minutes. So it's going to be 2.5 years into 30 minutes. I definitely can't do the first 4 years of the city, which was where I lost most of my hair. And aged considerably. But I think you'll enjoy just getting to know. I've had a lot of questions. Why and where and what is the city and what are the boundaries and things like that. Not necessarily going into the boundaries, but there is one interesting story. So if you get a chance, get up early, come on in. Be a lot of pictures. So look forward to give you that kind of presentation.
Thanks, Randy. We're looking forward to it. And don't forget, June 14th, summer kickoff. Once again, the millennials are taking the lead on this. They're going to need some help. June 19th is our visioning. And that's going to be at the SEMSWA facility over on Jordan Road. Please, please, please try and attend. This is going to form the vision of how this club moves forward and what's important to us. And then there's something happening on June 29th. What is that, Trip? What is that?
Changing of the guard.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Changing of the guard. Yeah, and that's at Trip's house. That's right. That's right. Now, I did send out a reminder on Friday about polio pigs. I thought it was really good of me to remember to do that. And I forgot to bring my polio pig today. But there's a box over here. We're very optimistic, okay? So there's a large box up front here if you want to drop your pig, but you get another chance to bring your pig again next week. Okay, so if you forgot your pig today or you forgot your checkbook, just remember it next week. And I'll send out a reminder and I'll probably forget again. So, does anybody else have any other business that we need to discuss before we get to the blue marble? Geez, everybody wants to go for the blue marble. So I tell you that, Doug, would you come up here, please? Bring the blue marble stuff with you. And Charlie, I know you need to stay awake, so why don't you come over here and draw the winning ticket? They were up at dark 30 this morning and their flight was canceled. Oh. Last three there, Charlie.
987.
987?
987, that's me.
All right, Mr. Peterson.
All right, thank you, Charlie. You're a good man.
Yeah.
There's a blue marble in there. That sucker's in there. That sucker's in there. Mix it up good. Don't have to go very high. One. Two.
Oh, it's a shame. That's a shame, John. I know. All the sad faces I see out there in the crowd.
Well, I didn't get my lunch, but I'll get it.
All right, with that, would you please join me in the things we think, say, and do? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Go out and have a great week.